I'm Professor Flint, and with me is
Zoey,
Bridget, Seb,
and Zahli.
And today we're going to talk and sing about dinosaurs, what and who they ate, and how some of that dinner came about. Because, you know, I love dinosaurs, you love dinosaurs, you love dinosaurs. Gives me an idea for a song. So if I love dinosaurs. On the count of 3, with me, all of us together. 1, 2, 3. I love dinosaurs. That's pretty good. Now, the next bit for the song. Can you make a roaring sound? 1, 2, 3.
Roar!
Let me hear you.
Roar!
Let me hear you.
Roar!
Okay, I think we should get into this. Let's do this. I love dinosaurs. 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 I love dinosaurs because they're cool. I love dinosaurs. 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 I love dinosaurs because they're cool. Let me hear.
Roar!
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 I love dinosaurs. 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 I love dinosaurs because they're cool. I love dinosaurs. 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 I love dinosaurs because they're cool. Let me hear.
Roar!
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 I love dinosaurs. 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 I love dinosaurs because they're cool. I love dinosaurs. 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 I love dinosaurs because they're cool. Dinosaurs. But it's not just dinosaurs that are cool. As Zoey found out when she went to the Adelaide Botanic Garden, plants are pretty cool too.
In paleontology, it's not just dinosaurs that are cool. The study of prehistoric plants, or paleobotany, is just as awesome. From the tiny microscopic blue-green algae to humongous trees such as giant sequoia weighing upon hundreds and hundreds of tons, and everything in between, plants are remarkable. But what actually is a plant, and where did they come from? Well, this is a plant, 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 all these are plants, this is a plant, this is a plant, this is a plant, this is a plant, this too is a plant, this is a plant, this is a plant, these are plants, this is a plant, these are plants, this is a plant, this is a plant, this is a plant, all these are plants, and all of these are plants. Put simply, plants are living organisms that use photosynthesis to make their own food. That's right, plants make their own food. But it's not like when you or I are making a cake. Plants make the actual ingredients as well. In the cake example, it would be like if you or I were making the actual egg, and by mixing up a bunch of molecules, and hey presto, here's an egg, and doing the same for all the other ingredients. And they do that through what we call photosynthesis, a process that uses water, nutrients and sunlight to make the food. So, where do plants come from? Well, in the fossil record, there is evidence of plants at around 3 billion years ago with indirect evidence of oxygen producing photosynthesis in the geological record. Wait, just think about that for a moment. The first dinosaurs appear about 230 million years ago. That 3 billion years for the first plants? That's more than 10 times that. So yes, dinosaurs are cool. Very, very cool. But plants are pretty awesome too. And without them, there'd have been no dinosaurs. And there'd have been no us.
Thank you, Zoe. So think about all the plants around you and around you. There was a time when none of them were a thing. When the earth first formed, there were no trees, no flowers, no ferns, nothing, no life at all. There was sunshine, but nothing to feel the warmth of the sun on its face. There were no leaves, there were no branches, and then amongst the swirling prehistoric waters, along came algae. You know, it's that moment that makes me want to go, ah!
Ah!
Oh, I like that. I'll do that, and you as well. Ah!
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 Let's do this. There was a time before trees and flowers. There was a time before life on land. There was a time before leaves and wood, much longer ago than we'll ever understand. This was a lonely, empty planet, once I'll have you know. The sun shone down on no one 4 billion years ago. Ah,
Ah!
ah,
Ah!
then along came algae.
Algae!
Tiny, teeny, itty bitty blue-green algae.
Algae!
Ah, ah, ah,
Ah!
ah.
Ah!
There was a time before Stegosaurus. There was a time before T-Rex too. There was a time before all them long necks, long before dinosaurs, when the first life grew. This was a lonely, empty planet, once I'll have you know. The sun shone down on no one 4 billion years ago. Ah,
Ah!
ah, then
Ah!
along came algae.
Algae!
Tiny, teeny, itty bitty blue-green algae.
Algae!
Ah, ah, ah,
Ah!
ah.
Ah!
There was a time before moon and sunlight. There was a time before night and day. There was a time before things organic. But once begun, life went on and found a way. This was a lonely, empty planet, once I'll have you know. The sun shone down on no one 4 billion years ago. Ah,
Ah!
ah, then
Ah!
along came algae.
Algae!
Tiny, teeny, itty bitty blue-green algae.
Algae!
Ah, Indeed. Now, for most of the history of life on Earth, the only life that there was stayed microscopic in size and lived in the rivers and the oceans. And then one day, land ahoy! A few of those organisms washed up on the shore. And they all died. And then the next day, land ahoy! A few more washed up on shore, and they also all died. And then, one remarkable day, land ahoy!
Land ahoy.
Some more organisms washed up on shore, and they survived. For a few days or a few weeks, until they all died. But then one day, land ahoy!
Land ahoy.
A few more washed up on shore. And they were lucky enough to have something that allowed them to hang on for a bit, that allowed them to survive. And they began to reproduce. They didn't die straight away. And so we see the transition from living only in the water to taking over the land. And we see it as one of the great, most important moments in the history of life on Earth. And I think we should sing that and celebrate it with a tune. Let's do this. Long before the ferns and flowers, way before the trees, algae drifted slowly searching throughout the seas, all singing land ahoy, toward the shore we're drawn. Land ahoy, a new age will dawn. Land ahoy, toward the shore we're drawn. Land ahoy, a new age will dawn. There's a place with dreams unfolding, where the future grows. Time to try that new location. Come on, let's go. Everybody sing land ahoy, toward the shore we're drawn. Land ahoy, a new age will dawn. Land ahoy, toward the shore we're drawn. Land ahoy, a new age will dawn. Land ahoy, toward the shore we're drawn. Land ahoy, a new age will dawn. Land ahoy, toward the shore we're drawn. Land ahoy, a new age will dawn. Once life was living on land, it found ways to diversify and adapt. From the first wee organisms, we see the beginnings of the first land plants. Once they came onto the land, they had to find ways to anchor themselves to the ground, things like roots, to gather the sunlight, things like leaves, to reach to the sunlight, things like trunks. And while we see the first trees, after a while, we saw them. Trees that would ultimately become food for dinosaurs. So let's see what Seb was able to find out about trees when he went to the Adelaide Botanic Garden.
This is a tree, and so are these. And while they're an important part of many landscapes, have you ever wondered what they're all about? I mean, for a start, wood. Wood hasn't always been around. It's only been around for about 400 million years, which does seem like a lot. But life on Earth has been around for about 3.8 to 4.1 billion years old. So for the most of history of life on Earth, there has been no wood. And of course, no trees. Also, the fact that some trees can grow to such an extraordinary size, and this one is small compared to many others. And the way they grow, with roots spreading under the ground, and sometimes along the ground. And then the growing of the trunk, the spreading out of the branches, and the growing of leaves. And when you get a whole bunch of them growing together in what we call a forest, the battle then goes amongst them and other plants to reach the sunlight. Indeed, it's the need for access to sunlight so that photosynthesis can occur. That is one of the reasons some trees have evolved to such incredible heights. So when you look at a tree, don't just look at what you're looking at. Think about how it came to be the thing you're looking at. Think about all the things that make up a tree, like wood and leaves and trunks and roots. And ask yourself, how did each of those things come about? And take your mind back to a world when forests covered much of the land, when enormous trees provided food for dinosaurs, and in doing so, gave them the opportunity to evolve into the largest land animals the world has ever known. Oh my goodness!
Trees, eh? Gives me an idea for a tune. Instead of a sea shanty, we're going to sing a tree shanty together. There was a tree, the first known tree. Go, you good thing, go. So let's do that, go, you good, all together. There was a tree, the first known tree. Go, you good thing, go. Good, good. Can you go, oh, all together now. Oh, and again now. Oh, tell you what, do a bit of this. Oh, have you got a table nearby? Have you got a piece of your yellow or anything? 3, 4. Oh, oh, I think we should do the tune. Let's do this. Splendid plant for all to see.
Go, you good thing, go.
Long ago, on an ancient day, the first known trees went out to play, and they're still going by the way.
Go, you good thing, go. Oh, oh, oh.
Heave ho and away we go. This was the place to be. Heave ho and a yo ho ho, when the world was the very first trees. Heave ho and away we go. This was the place to be. Heave ho and a yo ho ho, when the world had the very first trees. Oh, 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 oh. Before they came, there was a time. Go, you good thing, go. Of algae, moss, and lots of slime. Go, you good thing, go. Then onward to a new frontier as roots and leaves and trunks appear, and you can find them still right here. Go, you good thing, go. Oh, oh, heave ho and away we go. This was the place to be. Heave ho and a yo ho ho, when the world had the very first trees. Heave ho and away we go. This was the place to be. Heave ho and a yo ho ho, when the world had the very first trees. Oh, 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 oh. when the world had the very first trees. Oh, oh. Over the years, there's been a fascinating discussion and conversation amongst scientists over how sauropods, long-necked dinosaurs, used their long necks. Now, this is how most people think of it. The long neck stretching up to the top, reaching the tops of trees like conifers, having that for dinner. Up they go to the tops of the trees, eating them. Kind of similar to a giraffe. That's one way. That's the way we've often thought. But there is an alternative thought, and that is, instead of reaching upwards like that, reaching forwards. And reaching forwards, eating the food on the ground and spreading around, all around, and all around this way. So you're stationed in one spot, eating all of the food around you. Not just eating the food up there that doesn't have as many nutrients in it, but eating all of the food down here. And we think maybe it was a combination of the both, but just saying that long neck stretching out, eating a great big circle of food, all kinds of plants. Plants like ferns, you know. Ferns. Ferns, 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 all together. Now, ferns, ferns, ferns. You too. Ferns, ferns, ferns. Bit of air guitar. Ferns, ferns, ferns. Let me hear you singing. Ferns, ferns, ferns. Bit of air guitar. Ferns, ferns, ferns. Let me hear you. Ferns, ferns, ferns. Ferns, ferns, ferns. I think we should sing about that. Let's do that. On the forest floor in the world of the dinosaurs grew them ferns. Leaves and roots and stems are what made all of them the wonderful ferns. Ferns, ferns, 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 ferns. Let's all shout and tell everyone about it. Oh, them ferns. Earth got greener and the air got cleaner. The wonderful and amazing ferns. Ferns, ferns, 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 ferns. They grow from spores, they grow from forest floors. Oh, those beautiful ferns. They have veins and roots that soak up rain. Wonderful and amazing ferns. Ferns, ferns, 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 ferns. This is the egg of a sauropod dinosaur. Now, imagine a dinosaur bursts out of this egg, right? It's about, this big. And the first thing it does, it has something to eat. And the second thing it does, it has something to eat. And the third thing it does, it has something to eat. And so on and so on. And they grow and they grow and they grow because they eat so much. And we've in fact discovered that there's one particular long neck that we've learnt about, Rapatosaurus, where we reckon it's gone from the size of a chihuahua to the size of a Great Dane within just a few weeks. Now, imagine, how did it get so big? Because of all of the plants that it was eating. Now, why did it need to get that big? And why, after a year, was it as big as a car? Why, after a few more years, was it 30 meters long, some of these long-necked dinosaurs? Why get so big so quickly? To protect yourself. To protect yourself against large carnivores, to not become dinner of T-Rex, Australovenator, or some of these other raptor meat-eating dinosaurs. So yes, it's pretty good protection. And there were Australian longnecks too, by the way. Australotitan. And there was this other one where its ancestors came from South America, on their way crossed over Antarctica, made it here to live in Australia.
Savannahsaurus.
That's right. So, I know. Repeat after me. You as well. Ayo.
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 Ay, 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 yo.
Ayo.
Ay, 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 yo. Yeah, 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 yo. Yo.
Yo.
Let's do this. Savannahsaurus. Fossilized toe bone found down on the farm. A story uncovered that year. An amazing adventure of then and now. A dinosaur's journey to be here. Her ancestors came from South America. On their way crossed over Antarctica. Made it here to live in Australia. Savannahsaurus. Her ancestors came from South America. On their way crossed over Antarctica. Made it here to live in Australia. Savannahsaurus. Ayo.
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 The digging continued. More bones were laid bare. A Cretaceous jigsaw, I say. Put it all together and see what you've got to understand what was found that day. Her ancestors came from South America. On their way crossed over Antarctica. Made it here to live in Australia. Savannahsaurus. Her ancestors from America. On their way crossed over Antarctica. Made it here to live in Australia. Savannahsaurus. Ayo.
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 Some long necks went strolling with thunderous strides. Gondwana was their place to roam. Across ancient lands whose secrets now reveal. A place where some dinosaurs called home. Her ancestors came from South America. On their way crossed over Antarctica. Made it here to live in Australia. Savannahsaurus. Her ancestors came from South America. On their way crossed over Antarctica. Made it here to live in Australia. Savanosaurus. Her ancestors came from South America. On their way crossed over Antarctica. Made it here to live in Australia. Savanosaurus. Her ancestors came from South America. On their way crossed over Antarctica. Made it here to live in Australia. Savanosaurus. Ayo,
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 yayo.
yayo.
Them long necks travelled all this way with footsteps filled with thunder. They made it their own, called it their home here in the land down under. Them long necks travelled all this way with footsteps filled with thunder. They made it their own, called it their home here in the land down under. Them long necks travelled all this way with footsteps filled with thunder. They made it their own, called it their home here in the land down under. Them long necks travelled all this way with footsteps filled with thunder. They made it their own, called it their home here in the land down under. Ayo,
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 yayo,
yayo.
yeah. With footsteps filled with thunder. They did indeed. And one of the great things that we get to do these days is to learn about Australian dinosaurs in particular. And for those of you that are watching here in Australia, from where Dinosaur University is based, it's great to learn about the dinosaurs that lived where we now live, and all of the other prehistoric animals too. Now, long-necked dinosaurs, by the way, like Savanosaurus, Argentinosaurus, Dreadnoughtus, and Australotitan, ate a lot of plants, and we talked about that and that, right? Indeed, it's thought that Argentinosaurus may have eaten up to 1 ton of plants a day. That's a lot of plants. And if you eat a lot of plants, you're gonna do a lot of poop. Maybe some of the biggest poops ever. And did you know that it's not just bones and teeth and leaves and trunks that can become fossils? Poop can become a fossil too. Ooh. Except we call fossilized poop coprolites. And there are some scientists, instead of paleontologists, I like to call them paleontologists. Good, you're all going to pass your exams, well done. Who study coprolites. So we'll do a little tune about that. It kind of goes like this. Chorus is like this. It's a poop, it's a poop, it's a poop, all right. It's a prehistoric poop, it's a
coprolite.
Let's do this. Ooh. I was walking through the valley of the dinosaurs when I found a thing that I had never seen before. I picked it up, had a look, searching for a clue. Oh my goodness, I'd found myself a dinosaur poo. It's a poop, it's a poop, it's a poop, all right. It's a prehistoric poop, it's a coprolite. It's a poop, it's a poop, it's a poop, all right. It's a prehistoric poop, it's a coprolite. They come in different colors, many shapes as well. I rather hope there's no such thing as fossilized smell. Some are small, some are large, and some are in between. Some are like the hugest poops the world has ever seen. It's a poop, it's a poop, it's a poop, all right. It's a prehistoric poop, it's a coprolite. It's a poop, it's a poop, it's a poop, all right. It's a prehistoric poop, it's a coprolite. We study and we test them and then we look inside. A carnivore, a herbivore, a fossil cannot lie. There's so much we can do for science is what we do. There's so much to discover inside fossilized poo. It's a poop, it's a poop, it's a poop, all right. It's a prehistoric poop. It's a coprolite. It's a poop. It's a poop. It's a poop. All right. It's a prehistoric poop. It's a coprolite. It's a poop. It's a poop. It's a poop. All right. It's a prehistoric poop. It's a coprolite. It's a poop. It's a poop. It's a poop. All right. It's a prehistoric poop. It's a coprolite.
Today we're going to learn about how we extract information from the fossil record about what animals ate. And of course, when animals eat something, the thing that they use most is their teeth. So let's have a look at tooth shape. The first thing that we look at is the overall shape of the teeth. And just like the modern animals around today, animals in the fossil record used their teeth to eat specific things, and the shape of the tooth reflects that. For example, this big extinct diprotodontid ate a range of leaves and grasses. It's got these big loafs on its teeth for cutting through that vegetation. If we have a look at some other marsupials, like this koala, for example, we can see that the shape of the tooth is adapted to a very specific function. All of these little blades act like scissors for cutting through leaves. Whereas in animals like wombats, they're eating much tougher vegetation, and they've also got lots of dirt coming in their mouth from when they're digging their holes, and all the dusty grasses that they eat. So their teeth grow throughout their life and wear down all the time. So through looking at the shape, we can get an idea of what an animal was eating. The next category that we look at is the enamel. Now, here you can see it divided into these brown parts, that's the dentine, and the enamel, that's the hard outer part of our teeth. And that is adapted to grinding up whatever we're eating. So the thickness of the enamel tells us something about how hard the vegetation or the other things were that the animal was eating. The last thing that we look at in terms of determining diet is the components making up the teeth and the bones themselves. We can use what are called isotopes. So these are different ratios in carbon and nitrogen and oxygen and other elements that tell us something about the past life of these animals. They can give us clues to climate, the amount of water that was around in the environment that these animals were living in. It can also tell us things about exactly what they were eating. So different plants have different metabolic pathways for processing the sunlight through photosynthesis. And we can look at these chemical signals associated with these pathways to look at which groups of plants animals were eating. Now, it's not just the head end that is important when we look at what an animal was eating. If we're really lucky, sometimes we see fossilized poo in the fossil record too. And these fossilized poos are called coprolites. With our coprolites, we've got a whole range of different shapes that tell us something about what the animal was eating or what kind of animal it might be, as well as structures within the coprolites. So we might look for little tiny pieces of bone that might tell us we were looking at a carnivore, or sometimes all the tiny little voids represent the plants that the animals were eating. All of these different things we've just talked about are different ways that we can predict what extinct animals, including dinosaurs, had for dinner. So all of the different shapes and all of the different structures all give us different clues as to what these animals were eating.
Now, not all fossilized poop comes from giant herbivores. Of course, some of it has bones in it, or teeth, or bits of fossilized meat. And that's because we know not all dinosaurs, of course, ate plants. But they still needed plants, even if they didn't eat them. I mean, even if you don't eat plants, it is quite likely that your dinner ate plants. And while if you're T-Rex, Australovenator, or lightning claw, while you're not just into salad for dinner, you're not into salad at all, your dinner probably is. Now, lightning claw is one of the remarkable meat-eating dinosaurs that we find in Australia. We find it in Lightning Ridge from opalized fossils, and naturally, there's a song about that where you get to sing this with me. We'll just try it, kind of like this. Lightning claw. Let's just try that on the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lightning claw. I think we should just get straight into it. Let's do this. Such an awesome monkey, mean machine, a very terrifying beast on the dino scene from a long time ago, and she was known as the Lightning Claw. As she hunted through the hills and plains, if you tried to get away, it was all in vain. There was nowhere to hide to escape from the Lightning Claw. Lightning Claw, led from an ancient day. Lightning Claw, what would the other dinosaurs say? Lightning Claw, you're never gonna get away from Lightning Claw. As she stalked and snuck through times long gone, under prehistoric skies where the younger sun shone, got in her way, you'd fall foul of the Lightning Claw. With a slash slash here and a slash slash there, all the other dinosaurs were running around in fear that they too would fall prey to the light of the Lightning Claw. Lightning Claw, legend from an ancient day. Lightning Claw, what would the other dinosaurs say? Lightning Claw, you're never gonna get away from Lightning Claw. In the opals like a story that some good folk found, dead in the shadows of the past with the Lightning Claw. As you walk where she walked in this place, just imagine for a moment coming face to face, right here in the home of the fearsome Lightning Claw. Lightning Claw, legend from an ancient day. Lightning Claw, what would the other dinosaurs say? Lightning Claw, you're never gonna get away from Lightning Claw. Lightning Claw, legend from an ancient day. Lightning Claw, what would the other dinosaurs say? Lightning Claw, you're never gonna get away from Lightning Claw. We've spoken a bit about the kinds of plants that were around during the age of the dinosaurs and a lot of the plants that were around before that. And we know, of course, that there was a time before algae.
Algae.
There was a time before ferns.
Ferns, ferns, ferns.
And there was a time before trees. Go, you good thing, go! But what else was there a time before? Well, as Bridget is about to tell us in her visit to the Adelaide Botanic Garden, there was a time, believe it or not, before flowers.
Imagine a world without flowers. It's not that easy, is it? Especially when you consider that right now, 9 out of 10 plants in the whole world are some kind of flower. But that's exactly what the world was like around 130 million years ago, right in the middle of the age of the dinosaurs. No flowers! And then, within a few million years, flowers became the most dominant form of plant throughout the world. The planet went from a place where flowers were 1 in a million to a place where there are currently 9 out of 10 plants. The story of how this came about is a remarkable one. It's the story of how plants found a way to get animals, including bees and birds, to do a lot of their work. Instead of having to rely on the randomness of pollination by the wind, flowers found a way to get animals to help. They offered them a supply of food and nectar, and some animals went for it. And it's been a spectacular success. We see pollination by birds like hummingbirds, we see butterflies doing it, and of course we see it in bees. Interestingly, despite what many people think, life on Earth won't come to an end if there are no bees. There wasn't just a world before flowers, there was a world without bees too. A world without bees, though, would be very, very different. Without bees, the plants we and other animals have come to rely on to survive will go extinct. Ecosystems are complex. They involve interactions, relationships, and dependencies that have evolved over millions of years. A sudden ecological vacuum through the loss of one of the world's most important pollinators would be an ecological catastrophe for many of the world's species, including us.
Flowers, eh? I've been working on a new tune. I want to see if we can try it out. So I've got the names of some flowers here. So I'll sing one, and then let's see how we go. After me. Daffodil.
Daffodil.
Oh, you as well. Daffodil daisy.
Daffodil daisy.
Oh, good. Oh, let's add a couple more. Daffodil daisy, carnation, begonia.
Daffodil daisy, carnation, begonia.
You're quite good at this, aren't you? Okay, let's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's add a couple more and see how we go. Daffodil, daisy, carnation, begonia, gerbera, jasmine, sunflower, grevillea, banksia, chrysanthemum, hyacinth, water, rose, tulip, iris, orchid, and magnolia. Ha!
Daffodil daisy, carnation, begonia, gerbera, jasmine, sunflower, grevillea, banksia, chrysanthemum, hyacinth, water, rose, tulip, iris, orchid, and magnolia.
Well, I'm going to sit this one out. This one's over to you lot.
Imagine a world without flowers. It seems quite the challenge to do. But it wasn't all that long ago that this was most certainly totally true. As our petals unfurled, they took over the world. So here's just a few of the flowers that grow across all the land. There are some you might know. Daffodil, daisy, carnation, begonia, gerbera, jasmine, sunflower, grevillea, banksia, chrysanthemum, hyacinth, water, rose, iris, orchid, and magnolia. Daffodil, daisy, carnation, begonia, gerbera, jasmine, sunflower, grevillea, banksia, chrysanthemum, hyacinth, water, rose, iris, orchid, and magnolia. The key was in cooperation, on spreading the pollen around. With all the beetles, birds, and bees. Together they march, spreading across the ground with the nectar consumed. The flowers all bloomed. And here's just a few of the flowers that grow across all the land. There are some you might know. Daffodil, daisy, carnation, begonia, gerbera, jasmine, sunflower, grevillea, banksia, chrysanthemum, hyacinth, water, rose, tulip, iris, orchid, and magnolia. Daffodil, daisy, carnation, begonia, gerbera, jasmine, sunflower, grevillea, banksia, chrysanthemum, hyacinth, water, rose, tulip, iris, orchid, and magnolia. Daffodil, daisy, carnation, begonia, gerbera, jasmine, sunflower, grevillea, banksia, chrysanthemum, hyacinth, water, rose, tulip, iris, orchid, and magnolia. Daffodil, daisy, carnation, begonia, gerbera, jasmine, sunflower, grevillea, banksia, chrysanthemum, hyacinth, water, rose, tulip, iris, orchid, and magnolia.
On the earth right now are flowers. That is a remarkable story of cooperation and what you can do and what happens when different organisms or when we cooperate, we can do really cool things. Now, flowers are very, very cool. And here in Australia, of course, we have lots of amazing flowers. But there's so much more to Australia, as Zahli can tell us, from when you went to the Adelaide Botanic Garden.
There are lots of things that make Australia Australia. Our wildlife, the ancient land itself, the story of Aboriginal Australians, the longest continuous living culture on the planet, and of course the dominance of eucalypts. If there's one plant that reminds us we're in Australia, it's gum trees. If you have ever been overseas and come back, one of the things you'll notice is both the smell and the look of gum trees. So how is it that here in Australia, gum trees became so dominant? The earliest eucalypt fossils were found in South America and are around 52 million years old. But they are thought to have been evolved a little earlier. And then, as Gondwana separated and Australia drifted north, they made their move. Through the ability of most eucalypts to quickly grow following damage from droughts or fires, they were able to adapt to dry climates, weather soils and fire-prone landscapes. Importantly, they are not just fire survivors. By their very nature, it has been argued that they are also fire promoters, amongst other things, to their very chemistry of leaves and the nature of their leaf litter, combined to provide a potent fuel for the fires and an ignition source that can spread well ahead of fires. The story of fires in Australia and its impact on the environment have many elements to it, and there is much more of the story to be told. Once plants move onto land, catching on fire suddenly became a possibility. With eucalypts though, fire is an essential part of how they can spread and grow. Through that ever-familiar whiff of eucalyptus, it is, more than anything, the smell of Australia.
It really is, isn't it? The smell of Australia, the whiff of eucalyptus. And so we're going to do a tune all about the smell of eucalyptus. And it has a chorus. You can either sit and listen and relax, or you can join in the chorus as it goes. It kind of goes like this. The whiff of eucalyptus comes to me as I plod amongst this forest full of trees. When I lie upon my back on this ancient walking track, I breathe the eucalyptus and I'm free. Let's go straight to it. The bush is so alive, there's so much here to share. Whoa. The rivers and the creeks, there's magic in the air. Whoa. Oh, the whiff of eucalyptus comes to me as I plod amongst this forest full of trees. When I lie upon my back on this ancient walking track, I breathe the eucalyptus and I'm free. The flowers and the trees and all that dwells below. Whoa. The rustling of the leaves speak whispers that I know. Whoa. Oh, the whiff of eucalyptus comes to me as I plod amongst this forest full of trees. When I lie upon my back on this ancient walking track, I breathe the eucalyptus and I'm free. around us we can see the beauty that is there. Whoa, bushland all around, it needs our daily care. Whoa, oh, the whiff of eucalyptus comes to me as I plod amongst this forest full of trees. When I lie upon my back on this ancient walking track, I breathe the eucalyptus and I'm free. The whiff of eucalyptus comes to me as I plod amongst this forest full of trees. When I lie upon my back on this ancient walking track, I breathe the eucalyptus and I'm free. When I lie upon my back on this ancient walking track, I breathe the eucalyptus and I'm free. Dinosaurs are pretty cool though, aren't they? Aren't they? Aren't they? Dinosaurs are very, very cool. Now look, this is just about all we've got time for today. But before we go, thank you to everyone for watching. Thank you for National Science Week. Thank you to Flinders University, Adelaide University. Thank you to our great friends at the Adelaide Botanic Gardens. And if you ever want to learn about plants and you're in Adelaide, that's the place to go. Such a beautiful, wonderful collection. So we're going to go out with I Love Dinosaurs tune, so that's enough from us. Thank you, everyone. Cheerio. Bye-bye. Cheerio.
I love dinosaurs. 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 I love dinosaurs because they're cool. I love dinosaurs. 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 I love dinosaurs because they're cool. Let me hear you. 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 I love dinosaurs. 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 I love dinosaurs because they're cool. I love dinosaurs. 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 I love dinosaurs because they're cool. Let me hear you. 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 I love dinosaurs. 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 I love dinosaurs because they're cool. I love dinosaurs. 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 I love dinosaurs because they're cool.
Dinosaurs down under, beneath the southern sky. Dinosaurs down under, amongst the ferns and wallamai. Dinosaurs down under, here they made their mark. Dinosaurs down under, from our own Cretaceous Park.